G'day, guys. Welcome back to the channel. Welcome to NRL Round 5. We're at Round 5. There we go, already. I'm really excited because tonight we've got
Crazy.
BKR Sport on to tip with me. You probably have an idea of my tips. I've teased a few of them throughout the weekend, but I've had a good look. We're going to be running through the team list as well as our tips. I've got some, as always, outrageous tips for you.
Oh, shit. I knew it too coming on here. I knew we were going to get some outrageous tips from you. I tell you that right now.
They are coming. Well, let's get straight into it. Well, tomorrow night, normally I had this out on Tuesday, so it feels weird, but tomorrow night, the round kicks off. The South Sydney Rabbitohs, the Brisbane Broncos. The Broncos, they haven't had the best start to the season, unfortunately. I think they haven't. I wouldn't say they've looked terrible. I wouldn't say they look like a wooden spoon team right now. I think there's definitely team.
Oh, they're absolutely bottom four.
Broncos.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. 100% agree with that. I'd put them at the bottom of the bottom four, though. I'd put them as 13th right now.
Well, there's Manly, there's the Bulldogs, there's the Cowboys. They're the obvious three right now. But the Broncos, long term, they kind of always lose games that they probably should, and they lose games that they shouldn't as well. So look, they just lose games all the time. So I don't know. I still think the Broncos are a genuine chance of it, but I do think they're better than the three teams at the bottom. Yeah.
Well, as for the Broncos, they've got Cody Walker out for the match. So the Rabbitohs out, Cody Walker's out. This is the best chance for the Broncos to play some footy. But then again, you've got
do it, please. I want to see it to them. I want to see it to them. Go on, please.
That's outrageous. No, honestly,
yeah, well, you just said you were going to do outrageous tips.
Well, there is some coming, but not for this game. I'm tipping the South Sydney Rabbitohs 40 points to 12. I honestly think this team's going to put on a clinic. I think I can see some points coming through with Brisbane, though. But the Rabbitohs are going to be too good. I know there's a few outs for them. Their wingers are in supreme form in Johnson and Mansour. And I'm going to go with Mansour as my first try scorer for the game. But I'm going to tip South Sydney 40 to 12. What's your tip?
12 points for the Broncos is an interesting call. Just having a look at the team list now. Obviously, Milford, they're partnering with Dearden. Their team just isn't that great. Look, I think they'll probably score. They'll do better than the Doggies, but I'll probably go like 40 to 6 or something like that, maybe 40 to 10. Actually, it's pretty close to your scoreline, to be honest with you. I think the Rabbitohs are way too good for them. I think the Rabbitohs will put a number on them. And realistically, you could honestly name any one of these 13. They're probably going to score. Like, I know Cody Walker's out, but Benji Marshall coming in, I'm sorry, but like honestly, you could say one of the greatest players of all time. I know he's a lot older now, but still. What were you going to say?
I forgot now. I'll move into the next game.
Lovely. Well, firstly, my anytime try scorer. You know what? I'm going to go. I'm going to go Damien Cook. I think he'll get a nice little scoot away, and I think that's pretty good odds for the hooker role, isn't it?
What I was going to say is 40 to 12. What does that round up to be in margin? Because last week, I just want to say, last week, guys, I tipped 32. So I'm tipping Rabbitohs by 32. Because last week I tipped Melbourne by 34, 44 to 10 against the Broncos. Melbourne won by 34. So I tipped that margin. So let's see if I can do it again.
With the Rabbits Dogs game, I tipped 40 to 0 to the Rabbits, and it was 38-0. So I was literally 2 points off a perfect score. Gee whiz.
Very, very close.
Spewing close. Go on.
The next game, there's a chance I'll be out, guys. It is highly unlikely. Look, if I do go, there probably won't be a vlog out, but my uncle's going, and I might go. There's a good chance I will end up there. It's the New Zealand Warriors up against the Manly Seagulls. Now, Manly, they're right down the bottom, not playing the best footy. I think we saw glimpses of them against Souths. But there's not much to say about this club at the moment. Still no Tom Trbojevic, Dylan Walker at fullback. Big outs for the Warriors and Adam Fanua-Blake and Bunty Afoa. Bailey Siren also out. So quite a few
Bunty's
changes.
One of my favourite players for the Warriors, man. I love watching Bunty just run that ball back from the bloody kickoff. I love it, man.
He's a good hitter, just a big, hard hitter of the ball. But the Warriors have a really good record at Central Coast Stadium, and that's why I'd probably tip the Warriors. But here you go, guys. Here's an upset for you. I'm tipping Manly.
Yeah.
You smell it. Oh, Nan's happy. I'm tipping the Manly Seagulls to turn up. Now, I actually would tip Manly with the players in. I would tip with Adam Fanua-Blake there. I think this club, for one, is due a win. They've got a lot to prove. As I mentioned, the Warriors have turned Central Coast into a bit of a fortress, which worries me. I think the Seagulls are going to snatch victory from jaws of defeat here. I'm tipping the Manly Seagulls to win 20 to 14 and I'm going to tip DCE for a try.
You know what's funny is that I was considering it when I looked at the game. I thought Manly probably are due a win, but in the same sense, they have been absolutely damn well horrific this season to a point where it's been embarrassing. Except for the Rabbitohs game, I thought they had actually a somewhat decent game against the Rabbitohs where they only lost by 14, but realistically, they probably only should have lost by about 4 or 6 points. I think that the Warriors probably do win this. I don't rate the Warriors anywhere near as much as anybody else does. I don't think I have them where as low as we previously did, simply because there are much worse teams than them. But their spine isn't great for me. I know two of us are Shek's obviously fantastic, but he didn't have a great game last week. I'll still go the Warriors to win this. But then actually, look, it's really tough. I do actually want to take Manly because you've gone with Manly. I don't want to take Manly anymore. No, look, I'll go with the Warriors. They are at home, I guess. They'll be buoyed by the positive news about potentially getting back to New Zealand as well. If I'm going to go for an anytime try scorer, this is a tough one. I will go, I'm going to go with an easy one here. I think this one's a difficult match to predict because I think it will be close. I'll go an easy one in Ken Mamalo. I think that look, he's a fantastic player, and I think we should expect one of the wingers to score against Manly. And realistically, if this game goes to plan, I would say that pretty much every Warrior scores, but it probably won't be like that.
I'm pretty sure, correct me if I'm wrong, if you know for a fact, if this is wrong, I'm pretty sure this is Ken Mamalo's 100th NRL game.
Yeah, I'm not too sure about all that kind of stuff, but I just know the last 3 games in a row the Warriors have won, by the way, against Manly. So there you go.
But in 30 games, Manly are 23-7 with the Warriors.
Yeah, well, in the last 3 games, they're 0-3. How about that one? How about that one? But no, look, I'll go Warriors to win by 2 points. I'll go 20-18.
All right, let's move on to our next game. Now, we've got the Penrith Panthers and the Canberra Raiders. Now, seen a few people tip the Raiders here. I won't reveal my tip straight away. They welcome back Big Gun.
Obviously, that's showing who you're tipping already by that response.
Does it? You have to wait and see. Joseph Tarpany is back for the Raiders. Jamin Salmon has been named for the Panthers for the first time, but he is in jersey 21, so he could come into the side potentially. There's not many changes besides that. Look, this will be a good contest, I think, and we haven't seen much of low-scoring games. I guess you could argue Panthers and Storm in that low-scoring sense. Canberra haven't been great for mine. They've still got a lot of talent, and they definitely could win this game. But the Panthers, for me, they're absolutely flying. And honestly, I think their defense and their attack is going to be unforgettable in this game. I think it's going to be a really quality game. I think it's low-scoring. I'm going to take the Panthers by 10 points. I'm going to take them 16 points to 6. And I'm going to go with Viliami kick out to score.
Toss a Vitti, baby. Ooh, toss a Vitti. I like to see it. I'm obviously going to Panties. I tipped them to win the comp. I tipped them for the minor premiership. I think they're the best team in the competition. I think they're a very attacking team. I think that, look, Jerome Luai's there. You got the Appy Cottesale's not back yet, is he? Who's there?
No, Mitch Kenny's
I think it's Kenny, isn't it? Yeah.
And so Dylan Edwards is out still.
Yeah, Crichton's the fullback. I still think that obviously, when this team hasn't had their players like Cleary or Cottesale, they still beat the Storm and they're still a damn well fantastic team. And I think this is just proving everyone wrong in regards to pushing them out of the top 4 at the beginning of the season. I didn't do it though, no sirree. The Raiders haven't impressed me at all. The first game against the Tigers, they were pretty average in the first half and, kind of ran away with it in the second half against the Tigers though. Second game, they should have lost to the Sharks. We all know that one. The Sharks missed 3 conversions or penalties or whatever. Chatty Townsend. Round 3, who'd they play again? They lost to the Warriors by giving up a 31-10 score line. That was, granted because of injuries, but still, they still gave it up. And then they beat the Titans, but I don't think either team was really, that great in that game. And I think that realistically, the 67% completion rate from the Titans really was the one that gave the Raiders that hefty win. So look, I'm not a big fan of the Raiders so far this year. I still think they're a top 6 team, but I'll go the Panthers here and I'll go Jerome Luai to score. I think it'll be 26-16.
All right, moving on to our next game. It's your Titans. You're off a loss after 2 really nice wins. So this is a game you should win. You've got the Newcastle Knights who are injury-ridden. A big return at fullback of Kalen Ponga. So he comes back into the side. Chris Randall is on the bench, I believe, for the Newcastle Knights. He's back into the side as well. Ash Taylor is in for the Titans, but it is in the reserves, I believe. Yeah, it's in jersey 21, so he has been named. Jamal Fogarty's been named, but
He's
from
50-50.
what we saw of
His
him,
game time decision.
it's game time decision. So, yeah, look, I'm leaning towards tipping I'm tipping the Titans for sure.
Leaning
I just
towards.
can't. Well, no, I can't decide whether this will be a close 1-12 or a smashing. You are at home. You have missed being at home. I feel like it's safer to go with 1-12, so I'm going to tip the Titans 26 points to 18.
Well, I'm going Titans 13 plus. I'm saying we win by a decent amount. The reason being is because the last time we did play, the last time we played them was 36-6. That was with full teams at the end of last season. That was obviously at the back of our 5 wins in a row that we were, finishing off last year with. But we absolutely pumped them. We absolutely ripped them apart. And that was with, I'm pretty certain, they had pretty much a full team there. Let me have a look at their team last year. Man, Pierce was there, Leno, Ponga. Yeah, that was the exact same team. And pretty much we're going with the same team this year, except for we've got David Fafita, we've got Faisal Malawi. We've got, Patrick Herbert in the centers as well, instead of Tony Mapia. So look, and Brian Kelly comes back this week as well. So look, the Titans are at home. I think this is the best chance for the Titans to get a win over the Knights. And I think that probably even full teams, I probably would go with the Titans. I think that their handling really let them down against the Raiders. And I think that, honestly, if it wasn't for dropping the ball nearly, honestly, half the time in the game, the Titans probably make it close, even if not win, because arguably we were better the team for a lot of that Raiders game. Just couldn't get the job done, and then the Raiders put us to bed late on in the game. So look, I'll go the Titans here. Most games between the Titans and Knights usually end in a blowout, whether it is to the Titans or it is to the Knights. Like I said, 36-6 last year to us, but before that, when we played Newcastle, I think it was like 38-10 or something like that to Newcastle. So it usually is a blowout when these two teams play. So I'll go with the Titans. I'll go 13 plus, and I'll go Big Tino to score. I think Tino's had a fantastic start to the season. And actually, you know what? I'm going to go back line. I'm going to take a back
I'm going
line.
Kevin Proctor.
Going Kevin
I'm
Proctor.
going Kevin Proctor. Yeah, I think Proctor might get one.
You know what? I'm going to go. Brimo hasn't. No, has Brimo scored this year?
Didn't Brimo score last week? No,
he might have scored.
He
did. He scored against the Cowboys. He scored against the Cowboys. So I'll go. I'll go Brimo. I'll go Brimo to score. But I'll say Titans to win this one 34-12.
The next game, so we're both tipping the Titans there. The next game sees the Bulldogs. Now, the Bulldogs haven't scored a point in 3 consecutive rounds. They're playing the Melbourne Storm.
Lovely.
So this is going to be a horrible game to watch. I'll be at the Easter show at the time of this game, so maybe I'll chuck it on the Ferris wheel or something, but it's not really worth watching too much. So 5:30 Saturday. Josh Jackson and Luke Thompson, both back for the Dogs. I feel like these are big ins, as well as Dallin Waiteni-Zalesniak returning from suspension. It's just not going to be enough for Melbourne. I'm seeing more and more that Harry Grant is very likely to play. He's been named in the reserves, but looking more and more likely. How long the minutes be, we'll have to wait and see. But it is very likely Harry Grant will play. Brenko Lee is named, but I think he's on the reserves. He is in the reserves. I'm tipping Melbourne 13 plus, obviously. I think Josh Addo-Carr will score 2. I think Josh Addo-Carr hasn't scored enough.
I think we're all just waiting to see if you think it's going to be another nil.
No, I don't. Do you?
Yep.
Yeah?
Yeah, I'm not doubting it. And if the Dogs do score, cool, but they're not winning the game. Like the Storm are going to win it by about 400. But look, the Broncos scored 1 try, and it was the beginning of the game, and we kind of thought, the Broncos might do something here, and then the Storm ended up winning by 40 points. I'm taking the Storm here very quickly. Honestly, you could put a name into a barrel, draw it out, and they're probably going to be scoring for this team. You could literally say any of the back line. I don't think Addo-Carr scored last week, did he? Against the Broncos?
No. I don't think he scored for 3 weeks, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, if I'm going to go with anyone, Addo-Carr, Olam, and if I'm going to go with a front row forward, I'll go Big Nelson and stuff on the lineup. I honestly think this team wins the nil, and I think the Dogs get the worst record in history. Their attack is just shocking, and the Storm's defense is always quite good. I know they haven't been great this year, but they're still the Storm. So I'll go the Storm to win this one. I'll go 44-0.
I'm going to give the Bulldogs fans something to cheer about. I'm tipping the Storm 38 points to 8. I think that the Bulldogs will score 2 tries, both unconverted. All right.
Oh my God, you and your unconverted shit.
Melbourne by 30, and you haven't even seen my most outrageous tip. Moving on to
that's
the
not a
next
ridiculously
game.
outrageous. That's at least points on the board. That should be expected. I'm the one going the outrageous tip with the no score, but like in the same sense, like it should be expected. It's crazy how we're expecting the nil rather than the actual score of just 8 points. Crazy.
It is. So the next game sees the Sydney Roosters at the. Is this game at the SCG? I believe it is.
Yes.
It is at the SCG. Now, Jake Friend. We'll talk about this quickly. Jake Friend has been medically retired today. So look, the Roosters, they'll be out to play. And they'll probably want to put on a big score for this game. They got to win against the Warriors. As for the Sharks, I thought they were good, but the thing about the Sharks is, for me, they haven't really played anyone properly yet, and that's why I can't tip the Sharks. I was incredibly close to tipping the Sharks. I'm not going to lie. I don't think the Roosters win 13 plus, and if they do, I don't think they win by more than, say, 16 points. I can't see them winning by 20, 30. I know I said that last week with the damn well Panthers against Manly, which was outrageous, but I'll tip the Roosters here. I think it'll be a close game. I'm going to tip the Roosters by 10. Let's go with 24 points to 14.
Yeah, I'll go Shooks. I think it'll be close. I think Sharks do have a good chance of winning it, but I can't. I'm just waiting for Sean Johnson at this point. They beat the Cowboys by 40. Cool. Yeah, that was the Cowboys. The Cowboys are one of the worst teams in the comp right now. I think they're second last, and I think the reason they're the only reason they're not last is because there is an absolutely horrific team below them. So, look, I'll go Shooks. I'll go Shooks by 4. I think it'll be a close game, but I do think the Roosters are still very... Look, they played the Warriors, lads, and I don't really rate the Warriors in total. I was at this game, and I thought that the Warriors started off okay, but in the same sense, the Roosters were still getting it together. I think the Roosters still aren't exactly that great, but they got the job done, especially against the Warriors, and pulled away and were looking nice. But I'll go the Roosters. And if I'm going to say a try scorer, I'm actually going to go with the Sharks here, and I'm going to go with Matty Moylan.
Oh, I backed Matty Moylan last week, so let's see if he can go back to back. I'm going to go Joey Manu. He's been a bit quiet this year. He was denied a try last week.
Also, he's not going back to back. Manu will get one. He can't go back to back if he was denied a try.
Matt Moylan scored last week.
Oh, well, that's what I just asked, and you said he was denied a try.
Oh, well, I was talking about Joey Manu. We got each other off guard there. We'll move on to the last 2 games. Now, for the West Tigers at Leichhardt, they love Leichhardt Oval. It's
do they?
Home. They do. Against
I'm just saying, I've been there for 2 games where they're meant to make the finals, one against the Raiders and one against the Sharks, and they've lost both those games in the finals. Yep.
Well, look, the Tigers, they were pretty good for the most part against Parramatta. We did make a few errors. It wasn't a great game of footy.
Can I just say I completely and utterly disagree with what you just said? Absolutely.
Okay. I don't rate the Tigers at all. I didn't rate us the other day either. I thought it was a pretty bad performance, and we probably made them look better than they
absolutely
are. Michael Cheekham is coming off the bench for this game. No changes to the Tigers besides that, by the looks of it. Joey Leilua is in jersey number... Where is he? He's in the reserves. He's in the reserves, so he might be playing again in the New South Wales Cup, which they got a win with Joey Leilua last week. As for the Cowboys, Easton Masters is out for Connolly Lemalu. Kyle Felt is back. Jason Taumalolo is back at lock, so looking forward to him. I think this will be a close game between 2 scrappy teams, if I'm being honest.
Yep.
And one outrageous prediction that I've got for the weekend is that we're going to see the 2-point field goal. I think we're going to see it this weekend.
Between these 2 teams, who can kick a field goal from either of these teams?
Well, that's what I'm about to say. I think there's somebody who has been a little bit underrated at the moment. He's been scoring tries. We've been seeing that hookers know how to kick the ball. I think it's something they might practice at training. The Tigers win because Jacob Little at 9 kicks them a 2-point field goal. 14 points to 17.
What are you smoking? What are you talking about?
Yep, I'm tipping the Tigers by 3.
No, I understand the tip. I get the tip, but the little to kick a 2-point field goal, like, what have we ever seen Little even take a field goal from 10 metres out, let alone
Don't think
40?
we have, but I'm going with my head.
Well, we may as well tip Buddy Cohen Hess to take a field goal this rate. Like, considering we haven't seen maybe Tamalolo. By the way, Tamalolo's back, FYI. He is playing in this game. I'm taking the Cowboys. I think that you're absolutely correct in the sense that the Tigers were made to look good because of the Eels. The Eels dropped a lot of ball. The Eels were also made to actually look better in that game by some absolutely horrific defense by the Tigers in the first half. The Tigers actually probably should have won that game based on the first half based on the second half. But the first half, the Tigers were just diabolically, and if people were watching my stream, I was just hounding into this defense because the Tigers' defense was potentially the worst I've ever seen in that first half. And the Eels scored a lot of tries off the back of just ridiculousness. So I think the Tigers' defense really needs work, and the Cowboys' attack really needs work. I think the Tigers' attack is okay. I think the Cowboys' defense is pretty damn well terrible. But I just think the Cowboys with Tamalolo back might be able to, resurface a little bit, get a little bit of positiveness about them. And to be honest with you, I'm going to go Tamalolo to score. I'm going to go with the big lock to score, simply because he's back. He wants to prove the Cowboys aren't as shit as everyone's kind of made them out to be, even though they deserve everyone talking about them right now like this. But I think that he'll come back and really try and be that leader for him. So I'll take Cowboys and I'll take Tamalolo.
I'll tell you what, there's just, for rugby league, there's got to be one upset of the round. So I've gone Manly and you've gone the Cowboys. I love it. Moving on to our final game, we've got the Parramatta Eels, my boys, who are very scrappy win. Definitely score was not reflective at all against the St. George Illawarra Dragons. Now, like the Sharks, I want to ask, who have they played? This is a big test for mine for the Dragons. Obviously, Parramatta sitting in second position, not playing the best footy yet, in my opinion. I think there's definitely another gear to us that we should kick into soon.
This is usually when you play your best footy, though. Second half of the season's where you usually collapse.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Sivo went missing last week, so Sivo loves scoring tries at Bankwest. So I'll take Micah Sivo Tosavidi for a try in this one. Reid Marnie, he's going to be in for another big game. He is now leading the Dally M, so a little round of applause there for Reedy. I think that's fantastic if he can keep it up again this week. As for the Dragons, they played a depleted Newcastle Knights side. They really only just got the win. I think Parramatta win 13+ here. I think it'll be a game that will probably go back and forth in the first half and we'll be up by maybe 4-6. But I think in the end, we'll run away with it at home. I'm tipping Parramatta 30-16.
30-16. I think Eels win. I haven't seen the Dragons play anybody yet. Everyone on streams is always like, oh, look, the Dragons not playing too bad, are they? It's like, yeah, look, they're not playing too bad, and they're better than last. They're better than probably the bottom 4 right now. Long-term season-wise, they probably beat all the small teams and get beaten by the good teams. Dragons fans are trying to tell me that the game against the Knights was a proving point. It was like, absolutely not. Pearce was out. Who did Frizzell get injured in that game too?
David Clemmer.
David Clemmer got into that game too. Anyway, the point of the matter is that there was quite a few injuries in that team. And the Knights, without that anyway, have always been, and I said this in my preseason preview, the Knights aren't that great. You had them at one stage. I remember talking about you with this. Yeah, I'm talking. You said top 4 for the Knights. And I said, absolutely goddamn not. Because this team doesn't know how to win back-to-back. They win one game by 40, lose one game by 40. So the Dragons playing the Knights and winning over the Knights isn't really a big proving point to me. If the Dragons beat the Eels, who are a top 5, arguably top 4 team, I would probably start to say that the Dragons are the real deal and potentially being a top 8 contender. But they haven't played anybody. They haven't played nobody. The Eels haven't looked great, really, in any game. The game against the Storm is fine, but it was torrential conditions. There's excuses for the Storm in that one. The Eels still won the game, and they both play in the same conditions, so it is a fair Eels win. But in the same sense, it's torrential conditions. Either whoever lost that game had excuses. Who was the first 2 games you played against?
Broncos and Melbourne was the second week, wasn't it? And then Sharks.
Yeah, then Sharks. So Broncos, you were down 16-0 before you came back to win that game. So you're down 16-0 to the Broncos at halftime. That tells you everything you need to know about how really good this Eels team is at the moment. They're a good team, but they still have those weaknesses where they can give up something as terrible as that to a terrible Broncos team. And then with the Sharks, I think without the Sharks, and it's fair enough, they got the injuries, but without the Sharks having 0 players on the bench for 60 minutes or whatever it was, the Eels don't run away with that. The Sharks' defense was pretty good for 60 minutes there and held them in check and actually probably could have sent it to extra time. I think the Eels win, but in the same sense, I think the Sharks did a pretty good job. And then against the Tigers, like I was saying before, Eels weren't exactly that fantastic at all. But they did their job and they got the job done and they were the better team in my personal opinion. But then again, they did score off the back of some really, really poor Tigers defense. So I'm not convinced on them at all just yet. I think their power ranking's probably a 3rd-ranked team, but overall, I'm pretty happy with where I put them at 5th at the beginning of the season. So, I'll take the Eels here. I think the Eels win, and I think they're going to win by 16.
All right, and there we go.
So,
to wrap it up, the game of the round, there's 2 games for me. Do you think the game of the round will be the Panthers and the Raiders or the Roosters and the Sharks? I think it's a toss between the 2.
Roosters and Sharks will be done at a pace of kind of these 2 teams. You don't really know if they're good or not, based on the fact that Roosters with their injuries. The Panthers and Raiders game will be played at a pace of these 2 teams as genuine contenders. So it depends on kind of what you enjoy because genuine contender games can sometimes actually be pretty damn well shit. They really can, just because there's so much expectation and then you go into it and it's not that great. The Sharks Roosters, I guess, is not exactly a great deal of expectation, but in the same sense, I still think it can be quite sloppy in this game, despite having quite attacking football from both teams. I'll stick with the Panthers Raiders because they both are relatively attacking teams. So I personally, I don't know where you get the low scoring. It could be for all I know, for all you know, but I think that both teams will be out to attack in that game.
All right, we'll wait and see. I've gone with the low scoring. He's gone with the overs for that one. Well, BKR, thanks for jumping on the channel. Obviously, you've tipped the upset of the week to be the North Queensland Cowboys. So let us know in the comments if you...
Is it that big of an upset, though? Like, is it really that big of an upset?
I think so, because they actually haven't beaten the Cowboys for 20 years at Leichhardt. Sorry, they haven't beaten the Tigers. Haven't lost to the Cowboys for 20 years at Leichhardt, and they play each other most years.
Everyone's got a stat, though. I swear to God, like every single time you like, and not you. I'm saying like anywhere. Like everyone's always got some stat. So it's like I get past the point of stats at some point. You know what I'm saying? Like
why did I tip the Warriors last week? Because of one stat. Because the Warriors have never, ever lost to the Roosters in the month of April.
I know, but like what? Like that's what I'm saying. This is exactly what I'm saying. Like, why would you give a shit about a stat? And I saw that stat too, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. I mentioned it in the vlog that didn't come out, but yeah, I don't get why that's realistically a stat that you would base anything off because it's just random. You know, never beaten them in the month of April. What have they played them in? Maybe they might have played them like 6 times in April in the last 20 years, for all we know.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, make sure you do head on over and subscribe to BKR Sport if you haven't already. I'm sure 75% of you definitely have. Make sure you subscribe to this channel if you want to see more NRL tips. Next week, we're going to have Rugby League, in my opinion, join. So a few weeks to come of these joint tips, and then it will be back to individual. I think it's a good round of footy coming up. So hopefully let us know your tips in the comments, and I'll see you guys